And the next run being Neon White run by Lexi. Great game, great run, and I'll hand it over to Lexi and commentator.
Wait, I thought I wasn't gonna.
Hello, hi, hello, hi.
Wait, hello, is my mic working? No, there isn't. Can you hear it when I go over, like, the buttons? Yeah, okay, I'm Lexi. This is White's Heaven Rush, which is all of the main game levels in a row. I have record on it, and Marissa, if you'd like to.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I also used to run this category and used to have world record. That was a year ago. So I'll be joining and talking through this very fast-paced, speedrun-focused game. This game's a lot of non-stop action with no dialogue, no story, cutscenes, just all gameplay. I want to just ask a quick question. Would you be able to screen share so I can watch through that?
Wait, yeah.
Should have asked this before, but it happens.
I'm gonna go ahead and get into the run then.
Sounds good. Yeah, so time's just started, so this is the first chapter. This is going to introduce us to the movements in the game, which looks very simple at first. You basically just run forward and you go to the goal of each level as fast as you can. Duh, this is speedrun. You're going to be picking up these cards which double up as weapons and also give you movement abilities. So left click is a gun for each card, right click is a movement ability basically. So the third one was Purify, which is a bomb you can place that's launching basically. This is just how it is. It's like a double jump, like trans people are going to be able to do. So each level has a set amount of demons that you need to kill. So they don't move, they're just in set places. So most of us in the game need to kill every demon to unlock the goal and progress. So I guess level you jump onto this weird bit of geometry to skip a part of it. Nicely done. So you also notice that we are walking or running through the water whenever we can, which always gives you more speed. It's always where you want to be. It also gives you even more speed when you are going uphill, which can be seen in a few levels as well. So placing 2 perfect bombs gives you an even bigger launch, which is used for the strategy there. This is fast track. You can see use the launch from the perfect bomb to skip past this. When the enemies fire bullets, you can actually use the katana to parry them. Now the katana I didn't explain, you get by default, which is the default card at the start of the level, which you can slash to parry enemy bullets, and you gain a little speed boost. You can also shoot bullets with 3 guns to gain a bigger speed boost. Plus you can also shoot your own purify bombs with your own bullets. Chapter 1 is done already. Crossport was a big showcase of just purify bombs in general. This is chapter 2. This chapter introduces us to the first card, which is the Godspeed, which is quite a simple dash forward, which will go through basically any enemies, just insta kills. Plus it goes through breakable surfaces, it's a dash straight forward, which you always want to do in the air whenever you can, because you maintain more speed when you do this in the air, as opposed to doing it on the ground. So a lot of chapter 2 is very simple in terms of movements. Basically hold W, use the dashes straight forward to traverse these levels, while shooting enemy bullets to gain speed wherever we can. There is also a mechanic which was only intended by the developers called phantom boosting, where you can shoot an enemy bullet and then swap the katana and parry it immediately. Because when you shoot a bullet, it stays in a phantom state. Like it's invisible, but you can still shoot it again for about a second. It's more specific, but whatever. There's an interesting mechanic, which she just did right here, where you can bind your scroll wheel to jump and perform a coaster jump. Basically, after you walk off the ledge and you're in the air from it, you can actually jump mid-air, which is used to perform some jumps that you would not be able to perform in other cases without using any scroll wheel. Yeah, spacebar is normally used to jump, or something you bind it to, but scroll wheel works for that technique specifically. So there's one more chapter 2 level right here, we're just dashing through the guys again. And we're going to be going to chapter 3, which is, I would say, the first chapter that's really introduces different routes, like different potential for cutting big parts of levels. And as well around gets more interesting, for sure. It's also will introduce the third card shortly. And these head enemies are called Guardians, and they basically lock onto you. And if you are hit by them, you will die instantly, which would suck. Sure, X will be fine. Here's the stomp card. When you stomp, it creates a shockwave when you land, which kills stuff around it. Plus any breakable surfaces, you just go right through them. So I should explain the guns from cards are all different. So some of them are very simple, like they just fire like basically straight where you aim. The stomp gun is notorious for being difficult to aim, because it's like a spray of bullets. But if you hold for the click, it is kind of random. Because if you tap fire by clicking over and over, you can control spray of the bullets. Basically a bit to the bottom left of the crosshair, which is used to make it somewhat more consistent for getting boosts and just killing whichever demons we need to. However, after this, I would say is the first example of a big potential for a route change based on what you would see for a casual playthrough. This is canals, where we're basically going to save the enemy card to jump over the wall right here. And we're going to be sniping his barrels as they will explode and kill the demons nearby. So we basically snipes stuff from around where the goal is to end. As soon as the goal opens, when we're right there. There's a few more chapter 3 levels. The one coming up is Mountain, where you stomp down a mountain, but you also get big boosts. So it's more cool when it sounds. You will see some examples of the profile boosts like that. And she shoots her own carbon bombs. There's also variance in the speed you can get, depending on how many bullets you hit the bomb with. This is super kinetic. This is a cool level. We're going to try to snipe them, I think, just over here. This is the first boss chapter, chapter 4. This is the old city, where it has the first boss level. But before that, we have a notorious level called Forgotten City, which has a bit of a... I mean, it's definitely a difficult strat to learn, but it has become pretty commonplace for a lot of runners. Where we're going to try to jump across this gap using a cursor jump, and we're going to try to snipe this balloon. Nicely done. I guess it's harder than it looks because next to the wall where that balloon is, there is an invisible wall that sticks out for a bit. which your bullet can get stuck on and miss the balloon. So you need to basically delay it quite a bit. But it can get quite consistent with practice, of course. So the boss is Neon Green, who is fought 3 times in the game. This is the first time. So the way his fights work is he basically flies through gravel on a set path. So there's still movements as normal. You basically need to throw the crystals to break his shield, which leaves him vulnerable until he brings up the shield again. So you basically shoot him at set times to deal a set amount of damage in each phase where he's vulnerable, which all leads up to kill him as early as possible right here, using the double bomb launchers as well. And this death was on purpose. This may look quite surprising, but when you deplete all of your katana ammo and your fifth ammo, which comes after, you basically die because you have no cards left. And when you die after Green's already died, you're basically skipping the time spent during his death cutscene, which is about 3 seconds, or a bit less, perhaps. So this is done on purpose. So chapter 5, we have the final card, which is, it's quite opposite to the Godspeed card, because it's adapted you can control in any direction as you aim. Plus it's better to do the fireball along the ground, because it gives you a boost, which is similar to being in a water boost, essentially. We're going to just save this, let's back up. So we often fireball from the air into the ground to maintain as much boost as possible. The fireball boost will also kill any enemies, similar to the Godspeed when you do it through enemies. This can be used in an interesting way right here, where we're going to fireball straight up to break this core, which actually kills the enemies above the core because of the extended current from breaking the core, essentially. Of course, these levels go by very quickly, so we can't really explain strategy in every level. Many levels are just routed for consistency, mix of speed, for this category. What's interesting about the fireball card is, well, I should say there's a specific demon called the Ringer, which fires a ring of bullets, so, but you can gain massive boosts using the fireball shotgun, which you can see in some later levels. It's a lot more. This level has no fireball card, so it's basically a fake chapter 5 level. This level is a real one. This is apartments. This is the last chapter 5 level. It's a fan favourite because it's very technical, got very high skill seeing on this. This is the IR record route, which she just does perfectly. Makes it look way easier than it is. This route is not done by many people in Rush. There's a few different routes you can do. That's the fastest one, where you basically save a bomb to throw at the end while also sniping a demon all the way down. Like if you mess up, you have to reset the entire level if you mess up one little thing. And you can also reset at any point. With a hotkey, you can just reset the level whenever you need to. So chapter 6 does not introduce a new card, but it does introduce some unique demons, including the tripwires. Right, if you walk through the tripwire itself, you will just die. But if you shoot the tripwire, it will break the tripwire and also any enemies, because it is attached, which can result in a chain reaction of kills, which you will see in Alaska's levels. So sometimes breaking the tripwires can also kill demons, because we can't actually see. There's not attached to the tripwires as well. So we're going to save an elevate card or a Godspeed card round at the end. Jump on that tripwire and dash across the gap here while chasing the last tripwires. Nicely done. This level is kind of funny, it's called falling because yeah, it's falling, right? You get to stomp at the end, you can kind of stomp down and slash the tripwires as you go. Nicely done. So this is the Shocker Demon, which we were seeing a bit. This is actually a very unique route, which is not done by most people in full game. Well, we're going to go backwards basically to try and snipe all the demons. And we're going to go back up this room, watch the goal, and hopefully get these last snipes. Nice, that is really difficult, very nicely done. Yeah, that is really difficult to do in FL game setting. It saves about 3 seconds over the standard rounds. So this one is, wouldn't say it's as difficult. We're going to be sniping stuff from far away still, using the rubber bombs with precise lineups. The shockers basically have petals. When you land on part of it, you get launched into that direction, which will kill the shocker. They do counter demons even though they do not actually attack you. But they are still enemies, I suppose. There's a funny interaction where you can use the fireball into a shocker to gain a massive boost. It's just like this, very nicely done. Which is actually dependent on your frame rates, because you can get a bigger boost with lower frame rates. So some runners like to use a frame rate toggle to lower the FPS for that one section, just to get a big boost. One player on high FPS for instance. This is Trip Track, where we perform a gap jump, which is only possible with bugger boosts. Has to be done. So you basically go back to the top of the level and type of stuff that you skipped. You can do it without stopping. You missed a few things. It was made a bit safe. Nicely done. I guess level is an example of a big chain reaction, where you basically race the trip players to the end. You gotta get to the end before they break this platform. And yeah, it's a bit simple. Chapter 7 also does not bring you cards with it. When you choose the bubble demons, which are also they're just like objects that don't attack you. And they contain things inside them, because you can't act them if you go inside in most cases. You can basically walk like a bubble and then walk out to kill it, essentially. You can't shoot the demons like bubbles in most cases, except for one weird interaction with a upcoming card. So it's also going to make the browsing potential in this chapter quite smart, because you can't skip the bubbles, you need to just go to where the problem's intended you, I guess. So these levels are still unique, they still have some attack obviously. Especially some of the later ones can be quite difficult. This one is weird. You can basically use human members above the water. You stay a bit above the water and go at a faster speed, rather than stick into the water. By basically moving diagonally, kind of. This is minefields. We have to shoot these barrels before the chip wires get blown too early, and watch to the end. Nicely done. That is a mess up. For sure. These mimics are fake chests that fire bullets that will kill you instantly if you hit them. But you can actually use katana to slash the mimic bullets to gain more speed. You can't shoot the bullets, but you can slash them. And when you slash a mimic bullet, it does stay in a phantom state for a short time, similar to the phantom boosts I mentioned earlier. So you can kind of hold the katana and get a few slashes to get multiple boosts off of one mimic kill. Just like right now. Exactly. So this level you kind of just you shoot all the demons from the as well, just descending down. Yeah, it's a bigger boost. Time travel. Like I mentioned earlier. Guess also those levels. I think it's going to try for a bug boost right here. Going the wrong way, but still good back up. Don't want to take his time. Yeah, getting into chapter 8. This is a new card. This is the Dominion. This is often considered a very fun chapter. Very difficult high skill ceiling chapter. Because it's basically all it's all consistent movements. It's not reliant on like getting good bullet boosts and such of enemies. So left click is you fire a rocket, which can also be fired as a wall or a surface to launch you within the explosion. As you can see, she's like rocket jumping off these walls to skip huge parts of these levels. The right click is a zipline grapple, like this, which can attach onto a surface in a certain range. So using a combination of the rocket jumps and the zipline grapple, we can essentially skip huge parts of these levels, which is a big contrast to the previous chapter for sure. You can actually use the momentum from firing rockets on a steel above you, as you go sideways, which was used there. Yeah, we're going to go up this massive building using the rockets, and we're going to try to snipe these balloons from the end of the level. Very nicely done. If you miss all of the shots, you'll reset and lose 40 seconds. Like, there's so many strategies in this run where you can make one tiny mistake and just lose a ton of time. It can be very unforgiving for sure, especially in this chapter and the following one. Climb is much more difficult than it looks. Basically going into the building, then coming back down, and sniping these demons from below the floor with the rockets. Because when the rockets hit the surface, they have a pretty big range on the explosion, which can kill demons through walls from the inside. Essentially. This is a sense. This is like the original aim up level. People call some strats aim up strats. Because you essentially have to practice on the odds. But we can get quite consistent so far. At level you snipe the balloons from below and you head straight to the wall and just rocket jump up the massive building. Right to the end. You can actually get boosts off of your own rockets with different guns. But it is a lot more inconsistent than hero boosts. So it's not as common at all. It's used in this level. It's always known for being quite inconsistent. But it was routed a lot better over time. So the effect now is a lot more consistent, I suppose. And yeah, Conquest 2 levels are also examples of using the Dominion to basically snipe the demons and then climb massive buildings right to the goal. It's basically a theme in the next few levels, including this one. This climb's gonna be gently based up just fine. And what's interesting about these levels is that there is a lot of variance in the routes possible, and sometimes the ILs will do much different routes going full game. Because you need a mix of consistency and speed for full game. And also good backups. So Vera, you can actually destroy this bubble coming up from outside of it using a grapple cancel. When you are in a grapple and you jump preemptively, you can basically cancel the grapple, which actually destroys this bubble. It's a weird interaction, which I thought I should mention. So, I'm guessing he snipes again, going up this massive skyscraper. Right, it's gone. Nicely done. So, because it's chapter 9, this chapter does not introduce me hard, but it's often considered the hardest chapter in the run, because the theme of this chapter is essentially a gauntlet of basically everything you've learned so far into a variety of different levels that are all different in their own ways. These levels are very movement focused. Still seeing this very high ways. This is bots. This route that Lexi is going to do is the IO record route, where you rise over this building, or this wall, I should say, using a rocket boost while sniping attacks demons. This is so much harder than it looks. These guys have to save this. Yeah, it's good. So, okay, please, let's go. So yeah, she did mess up, but she was able to save it without having to reset. which would have lost so much more time. Like, one thing important in 4-game as well is also having awareness of the demons you killed, and the backup you can do, rather than having to reset price at the end and things don't go your way. Yeah, however, basically from the start, just loop all the way around. Yes, Sava's plunge has a stop down and then some big ring of boosts towards the end. Using the 5-ball shotgun. So nicely done. We're saving this Purify Bomb to boost here to get more speed, obviously. So you can see the possible speed from these boosts. Very nice. This is Mayhem. You can save a Purify to snipe this Guardian all the way over here. And then we get some fires on the mix. Very nicely done. So this is Barrage, where it looks quite simple at first because of the straightforward routes. But the amount of boost you can get in this level is just insane, I would say. The amount of boost that can go by bombs that basically stack. Yeah, it's very clean. Like, the time variance on this level is so much bigger than you'd think. Also, same with this one, this is the States. This level is all about massive fireball boosts as we traverse through in and out of buildings. That move into here, and basically as typical, one gets these massive boosts. Like, the speed you can get is ridiculous. Like, if you played this game for the first time, you would not get anything close to this level of speed. If you try to copy the stuff she's doing. This level is way more simple. Hopefully we don't miss a trip player. The shots can be quite deceiving. But this is good. We are going to see a shocker boost right here to skip the first part of the level. We're then going to throw a bomb to kill the Guardian into the skin. So the rest is basically riding the shockers. Any shots can overshoot them, and quite simple. The IRL in this level is very cursed. Extremely different to this. Keep it nice for 4-game. Fortress is the final Captain 9 level, which is quite an interesting one. Because we're going to be skipping going inside this building, which would do not be casual playthrough. Launching with the barrels right up here, sniping the demons with the rockets, and then using the barrels to launch the goal. Going inside that building, you would go to the room with the balloons, and come back up, which we skipped entirely to shoot the balloons from the top, like the goal is, as you saw. Which is just a very cool route, and it's quite consistent too. With a lot of practice. So this level is Holy Ground, which is basically holding W Simulator. It would make more sense in the story, because it is the lead up to the second boss level, where we are heading to the third temple, where the second main boss fight is. The first temple is essentially like the clock tower, the first boss level, but just amped up a ton. It's longer, and we are using the fireballs and Dominion rockets as well to damage speed. So yeah, similar concept. We can shoot green whenever he's vulnerable, and then he drops a shield. You can deal max 10 damage to green every time he drops a shield, which is one fireball shotgun if you get all the bullets. If you shoot him close enough. So using a rocket actually deals 8 damage, so we want to use the fireball shots if we can. For this section we are going to try to fire rockets and then shoot it with the fireball for max damage. As you done. Those air swaps are quite difficult to learn. Yeah, this is the Death Strat in Third Temple, which is by far the most difficult because it's extremely risky. And you need to hit green with the rockets as it's flying. After hitting this enemy bullet in midair, which kills you before green. She did it perfectly. Much harder than it looks. Very nicely done. So chapter 11, we're already like in the third level before I could even explain anything. This is the Book of Life card, the final card, which is basically an instant teleport onto anything you click onto, any demon or any object, like a barrel or a demon. When you use the card to basically turn friend to a demon, you kill it immediately. This card is just as broken as it looks. You can skip huge parts of these levels using the range of this card. It's not infinite, but it's very long. So yeah, the incentives trapped by the developers on these levels are significantly longer. We're just getting to be skipping so much. Like any player playing for the first time seeing this would be very confused, seeing possibilities on these levels. These levels are very different to the rest of the game. So people tend to really like and really dislike these because they're so different. I do think they are quite cool personally because of the drop potential and the skill ceiling with how fast you can form each booth. Oh yeah, we call them Book of Life good booths in the community because it's funny. Anyway, that strat is weird. We basically use inside aiming to lock onto an enemy from the start, which we can access later. It's too precise to explain quickly. Just like my brain isn't working, sorry. But this is Marathon, which is a 2-minute long level casually. But for speedrunners it's about 11 seconds. Or even 9 seconds in the IR for the fastest runners. So yeah, we skip huge parts of it with the Book of Life, and this is Absolution, this is the final boss. So this uses the Book of Life to traverse through the level from hitting targets from far away, which will damage Treen. It's the same concept where we have to destroy crystals, but we're using the Book of Life instead to just teleport into them. There are some other cards used for boosts. She did actually miss one of those pistols, unfortunately. But this is okay. Because we can go again. So obviously this level has lots of time variance as well, like all the boss levels. Because of the amount of variance in the speed of the teleports and just the general movements. These couple lives are notorious for involving spam clicking to destroy the fast possible. Oh, it's more of a rhythm, I would say. You don't have to spam as fast as possible. The second one is quite difficult because of the angle you're at. And the first pistol can sometimes move in awkward position. So by sniping these crystals down here with our speed, we can essentially skip the final phase, where we are shooting green right away, and we're entering the hands into the final room. So time is coming up very soon. She performs the death strats after this room. So break fire crystals, we call green here, to Book of Life, and then death strat time, that's it. Nice run. So firstly, in Marathon, casually.
Nice.
So there we go. It was difficult to commentate, it's very fast paced, there's lots of us playing. But she gets a very fast run, and a sub 30, which is a very difficult time for most people. I guess it's the first sub 30 in a marathon, I believe. The second one has performed.
That could have been like 30 seconds faster too, I think, if I didn't have to reset at the end.
Yeah, I reset. I thought it would kill the sub 30, to be honest, but you still made it. Okay, nicely done. So
Thank you.
very good showcase. Like extremely impressive. I'll give it to Lexi. Anything you have to say after that?
Yeah, no, that was the game. I would heavily recommend playing it if you do want to. The Neon White speedrunning community Discord server is always a good place to go if you want to get into the game. Yeah, that's about it, really. Thank you for
Yeah,
having
the
me.
Cisnt server is a chill place in general for anyone who wants to join, and this game is very accessible to pick up and learn. There's a big modding scene as well with community medals and such that make it a lot more fun to improve. The game has a lot of replay value thanks to the community. And yeah, my voice is dead from all that talking, so but we're done now. So thanks for having us.